This is my 1995 Ford Bronco. I purchased it about a year ago off of Craigslist. It had a bad ring and pinion gear in the rear end, so I ended up having to trailer it home. I found a complete rear end out of a Ford F-150 two-wheel drive truck, so it had the Detroit locker posi rear end in it, which was a neat addition. I had to spend quite a bit of time just cleaning the truck. So after I ordered the turbo, I pulled the Bronco into the shop and I started looking closely. First thing I would need to do is build an intake manifold pipe. Started building the air intake pipe. Wires together. The curved one is just a fit pipe. Coming up by a transmission for the supply. The other one's the down pipe, 6-liter Ford down pipe. Okay, 6-liter Ford down pipe looks like it's going to line up just perfect in the fender well. Clear the tire, curve down under. It's going to be a perfect fit. No modification. That one pipe that you see coming up in the firewall is one of these weird bends, so I got 2 of these. They'll be cut and pieced together to create the crossover behind the transfer case, and then come up the driver's side of the transmission, upside of the transmission, and I'm going to put some joints on the ends so that you can take it apart. Take it apart. Really like these ball and socket by Hedman headers here, Hedman headers. Heat resistor adapter, that's a good one. That's going to get a good seal for the turbo. So one will weld behind the cat, and then one on this pipe that runs up the passenger side of the driver's side of the Bronco, so that you can undo it and take it out, pull the transmission, whatever you need to do. Yeah, then it'll come up here. This will be cut off. I'll put a flange on there that the turbo will mount on. Turbo will sit here into this intake. This intake pipe will reduce down to fit the turbo. Then over here this is the 6-liter exhaust pipe, so it'll dump out through the fender well. Just, this side of the brake lines, and really trying to squeeze it in here without modifying too much on the truck, and see what it does here. This is a bank injection 351. We'd like to do the conversion to the sequential fuel injection and the mass airflow sensor, but we figure we'll see what the turbo does to it first. Probably gonna invest in a air-fuel ratio gauge, because see if the engine goes lean or not. It's under acceleration. That's really the only concern. So yeah, more to come. Here's some of the items I ordered off of Amazon.
I ordered 2 of these mandrel bends, a couple of these brackets to help hang the exhaust. This is the 6-liter downpipe. Looks like it's no longer available at the moment, but it was a good price. It was like $89. This flange really helped out mounting the turbo. This is the much needed heat tape, really reduces temperature around the exhaust, and a 3.5-inch band clamp. So then I started working more on the intake pipe. I had to cut a top out of it and kind of make the top of it curve up and around to hold the blow-off valve and match up with the turbo. Here's a shot of the pipe that runs along the top side of the transmission. You can see the hanger bracket, which mounts into the firewall just above the gas pedal. It comes through. The pipe had to be necked down to fit the turbo flange. There's a side view of it. You can see the header connection on the back, and then I wrapped everything with the fiberglass tape to keep down on the heat. Everything, as the exhaust runs up through the truck, it can't touch anything. It needs to have clearance. It can't touch any lines, any transmission, nothing. And if it does, it could cause a burn, but that's where this heat tape comes in and really helps reduce temperatures, so if it does make contact with something. But really, you got to have clearance on all your exhaust pipes. You can't have them touching anything. Whenever they make contact, the heat will distribute to whatever it's touching, and it'll create rattles and vibrations. This is the 4-inch 6-liter downpipe. I started fabricating it to fit through the wheel well. I had to dimple it to fit the brake booster. I kind of smashed it in vise to oval it down to clear the steering column. Also wrapped it with the heat tape. Then it gets the flange welded on the end that will bolt to the turbo. And so it goes down. It has a slip joint where the other pipe hooks into it. So there's a clamp and a seal band as it goes together. Here's our famous turbo from Amazon. Just kind of mocking it up on the workbench. First try with the downpipe. In order to get this all to fit the truck, there was a lot of time spent just putting it in and out of the truck, in and out of the truck. All said and done, this is probably 30 to 40 man-hours of work to accomplish turbocharging this engine. There is the air filter that came from Amazon. I'll give that link here in a bit. Here's our oil pan. That was a bit of a project because you had to undo the motor mounts and really, dang near pull the engine out to get the oil pan off. But you have to weld a bung and fitting into it. This has to be above the level of the oil so that it can continuously drain turbo back into the oil pan. Make sure you add a new oil pan gasket. Velcro is a good one. Here you can see I added the flange to the pipe, and the pipe's in place. Pretty tight clearances, but there's space all around it. There's the flange. That's like a 2-inch pipe that I worked in a vise to fit it, to square it out till it fit inside the flange, and then welded it. Here's a picture of the bracket that helps support the weight of the turbo. Here's a nifty turbo badge that I cut into the Bronco badge to make it an official turbocharged truck. And here's our fabulous Amazon turbo mounted in place. That's a intake boot off a 7.3 power stroke, reduces from 4 to 3 inch, so it fits the air cleaner. It also came from Amazon. It's hard to see, but there's probably 3/4 or an inch of airspace around the entire turbo. It was definitely a tight fit, but it seemed to fit as if it was meant to be there. Here's a good shot of the intake pipe. You can see where the blow-off valve is going to bolt. There's a shot before the blow-off valve was welded in place. And coming up, we have this great kit that I ordered from Amazon. This was a turbo install kit. Comes with the oil pressure line, a T to plug into the oil feed and the drain. There's the turbo again.
Let's see, I'll try and show it to you. Quick, nice spotlight here. I'll try and make it kind of quick, and then I'm going to try and get some driving videos, obviously. Here's the new dump for the turbo. I just got it on the driver's side right now. I'll probably put one on the passenger side. So looking underneath the truck, you'll see that pipe there, which crosses over from the factory caps. And then if we go under the truck, you can see the pipe runs up the top side of the transmission there. Okay. And it runs, you can see it up in there. The truck has a body lift kit on it, so that pipe has some clearance, but yeah, we still have the catalytic converters on it. Smog pump, BGR valve. We gotta go through emissions, so had to keep all that. So this pipe takes off with the coupling right there, and one up here, so you can take that pipe off to pull the transmission or whatever. Okay, and then this goes. It goes up front here. Okay, looking in the fender well, you can see there's the pipe. It's the pedestal for the turbo. There's the down pipe coming down here. It's a Ford 6-liter down pipe. A little bit of modification, but it fits in the fender there. Goes down. Okay, up here we got, it's an HX 35 turbo, Dodge Cummins diesel. Okay. Oh, I just lost my light. That's okay, you can still kind of see fairly well. I built this manifold here, kind of lies into the two. I'm using like hydraulic hose, rubber clamps. This is a turbo fitting, it has a little bit of flex.
Extra sweet, so don't miss your chance to pick up a carton of exclusive special edition CSU and CU ice cream at Safeway. Safeway will make a donation for every package sold.
As you can see, my Bronco runs pretty good. I enjoy the turbo. Hope I sparked some ideas for everyone. Please leave a comment and subscribe.